Hello everybody. In this video we'll be covering one of the sections in Chapter 2 of our textbook Introductory Chemistry by Tro. This chapter is titled Measurement and Problem Solving. So first off, let's think about what is a measurement. It is a quantitative observation. So that means that it's going to result in us having a quantity. And a quantity is going to involve a number and a unit. This number and unit is going to be a comparison to an agreed upon standard. So we all agree what, for instance, 1 gram is, and our quantitative observation is going to tell us how many of those grams we have, whether it's a fraction of a gram, so it's less than 1, or it's some multiple of grams, so more than 1 gram. And every one of these quantitative observations, as we said, is going to have a number and a unit. The unit tells you what the standard you are comparing your object to, okay? It says, for instance, if we want to know the mass of something, we're going to compare it to some standard of mass, whether it be a pound or a gram or an ounce or something like that. The number tells you two different things. It's going to tell you what multiple of the standard the object measures, okay? So how many of whatever thing you're comparing it to you have. And then it's also going to tell you something about the uncertainty of the measurement. We'll talk a little bit more about how it manages to do that. But let's start off by looking at an example. So scientists have measured the average global temperature rise over the past century and found it to be 0.6 degrees Celsius. So the symbol, degree Celsius, tells you that the temperature is being compared to the Celsius temperature scale. Okay, so we know what kind of degree we're looking at here. And this is a different scale than the one that we usually use. We typically use the Fahrenheit scale, and it's actually so ubiquitous in America that often we'll just say something like 0.6 degrees or something like that if you're talking about the weather or something. But we're talking about Fahrenheit in that case, where the rest of the world tends to use this Celsius scale, which is a little different than the Fahrenheit scale. The 0.6 tells us two things here. So it tells us that the average temperature rise, okay, so their temperature rise would have been different in different places, but in average, if we added up all the different temperature rises and divided by how many we had, is going to be 0.6 times the standard unit of 1 degree Celsius. Okay, so it rose 6/10 of 1 degree Celsius. That's what that's telling us. And it also tells us something about the confidence in this measurement. So the confidence measurement, that the degree of uncertainty that we have is that it's somewhere between 0.5 and 0.7 degrees Celsius. And the reason we know that is because they only wrote 0.6, okay? For instance, if they wanted to tell you that it was closer to 0.6, not to narrow this range a little bit, they would have written 0.60 here. To let us know that they believe that last digit to be a 0, and then the uncertainty in this measurement would have been somewhere between 0.59 and 0.61 degrees Celsius.